we have been berated because we said Florida State was going to be good. Berate every single media entity that you want to because they all said it. How many people stood on business back in April and said, hey, this
SMU's
team is
coming.
going to commit. They're going to commit. I don't know what I just said. They're going to compete. They're going to be good in the ACC. Now, look, I know that their schedule hasn't been, they haven't played Clemson, Miami. They're not going to play those teams. I get that. But they are taking care of business after a slow start. They are the definition of a team that has evolved from week one. Fellas, we watched them in that week 0 game against, what was it, Nevada? And it looked bad. Like, it looked really bad there for a second. Kevin Jennings, Ralph and I talked about this on Saturday night. Kevin Jennings has been, just like he's ignited this offense. Rhett Lashley's been able to really open things up. They've got a good offense. They blasted a Pitt team. They played really good defense by ACC standards. This is a good football team. And, they're making a case since now they beat Pitt and Clemson has fallen off, and we'll tease this. They're making a case for the ACC to get 2 teams in. Like, if SMU and Miami go undefeated into the ACC title game, I don't have a problem with a 12-1 SMU team being in the playoff. That's a legitimate conversation. So I really like this. Now, I want to point this out too. Sam says, beat Miami in the ACC, chip SMU, then we can talk. Then we can talk about what? They would have gone undefeated. I don't understand what the measuring stick for a good team in the ACC is. This is regardless of schedule, this is the top 5. It's the top 5, top 6 ACC team. That's good. They're above average. They're above average ACC team. And so what does that make them with their current schedule, their current roster, and the way they're playing? It makes them a real playoff contender. That's what it is. Dr. Bob says, I hate SMU for all times they ruined my AAC title hopes or experience, but they have the bags. There are literally a lot of wealthy alums at the school. Rhett Lashley is not a guarantee to leave. That's also something. So I talked with someone today about this. They're getting ready to, for lack of better words, no pun intended, to pony up the money to keep Rhett Lashley in Dallas.
He already knows the creed.
He does know the creed.
He already knows the creed, but those SMU boosters, they're not
becoming career suicide at this point. Why not? Yeah. Like, here's the legitimate thing, and I just want to say this, we'll get out of here. Why would you leave SMU? You're in a conference that you've entered year one as you're going to be near the tops of the conference. You have the money to be one of the top spenders in the conference. You are in a market that's going to be attractive to guys coming to play. If you're at Lashley, guys, you can be a top 4 seed at SMU because you're in the ACC until the ACC folds in 3 years. But in all seriousness, like you're going to have to be one of the big programs for him to leave. And I just don't know. I love SMU. I think they're a real playoff contender. I've already said it. If they make the ACC title, LSU doesn't, I'm really going to strongly go with I might go to Charlotte for that game because that's going to be a lot of fun. I like SMU. So, Will, directed to you first. Do you believe they're a real playoff contender? I think we have to start talking about it. Like they dominated.
Start talking about it. We've been talking about it. Sam, just say you're a hater. Just say you're a hater.
Love you, Sam.
Yeah, thanks for watching, but you're hating on SMU. Because I've watched Indiana. Indiana is boring Big Ten football, and they have also feasted on a weak schedule.
Which
so has SMU. So has SMU, but SMU does it with style, and that's what it takes when you have a bad schedule. You have to do it with style.
No, dude, that's rubbing it in, and that's mean. Riley Leonard, he tried to score more points, and it would have been poetic justice. That's mean. Loser. Anyways.
SMU does it on both sides of the ball. I don't know what more can be said. Everybody knows how I feel about Rhett Lashley, the protege. I wish Auburn could make it happen and bring him back, but I don't see it happening because he's the real deal. I am surprised at how quickly he's found success at the level that he's had the success. But just to be talking about them being a playoff contender, I really thought it would take a little bit longer.
They also lost a decent amount in the portal. Like, we need to talk. Like, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like the offensive line was rated in the portal. So yeah.
They did. But they're really good. They're really good. And it feels good. It feels good to be right about something for a change.
Also,
and I want to say this too.
The loss to BYU
that's a good loss.
They lost by 3 points. They lost by 3 points, and it was just a back and forth barn burner when they started when Preston Stone and Ken Jennings both played.
Well, I want to say this too. For people who say they're fine, they're okay. You don't. SMU's what 8-1. They're 8-1 this season. Is that the record? You don't luck into an 8-1 season.
No.
You don't luck into 8 wins. You have to be doing something right. And Rhett Lashley has found the quarterback that he needs. He has found this offense is clicking now. They have. I mean, this is a high-profile offense that he has in Dallas, and so it's credit to him for being able to take what was a good roster, got torched in the portal a little bit, make some additions, and they have hit on all cylinders ever since, week 2 or 3 of the season. I mean, I love what SMU and Rhett Lashley have done.
Yeah.
SMU's 8-1. We mentioned they played at Nevada, week 0, having to go on the road.
Yeah.
Blew out Houston Christian, lost close to BYU at home, hung 66 on TCU.
Remember last year? Remember we told
Florida
they can't
State.
beat a Power 5 team last year?
What the heck does that have anything to do with this year?
Well, that's what they told us last year or earlier.
Yeah.
They couldn't beat one last year. That was the whole thing. Them not being good. They said they can't beat Power 5 teams. Well, they did. There you go. They beat Power 5.
I think what has separated SMU and shows that they're legit is that 3-game road stretch at Louisville, where they won 34-27, at Stanford, which they blew out as they should, and then back to the East Coast to play Duke, where they won a tight game 28-27. But that's what separates it. That 3-game road stretch right there, and you think about the travel, which is insane to think that was 3 Atlantic Coast Conference games. But that's what has separated them. And then Pitt, which a couple weeks ago I went on about Pitt, my issues with Pitt, and they reared their ugly head against SMU.
Yeah,
but SMU is good.
I mean, realize
watch them play; they're good.
That game against Duke, we forgot completely talk about something in that game. Is that that was 2 former co-coaches together in that game. Because Lashley was under Manny Diaz when he was in Miami at that time. I completely forgot about that.
Right?
Yeah, and
he was.
Diaz was head coach.
Wow. And Duke's defensive coordinator was SMU's defensive coordinator last season.
So
a lot of similarities.
I forgot that they coached together, and I was like, well, now I know why they know each other, and that was kind of a closer game. He's seen him coach for so long, and it was just a good game in general. You watched it; it was just a really good defensive matchup, and it was just it was good.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch.
Also, we've talked about this so much, and I've give credit where credit's due. It's hard to go on the road and win. Let's stop acting like it's a foregone conclusion. People. I saw people saying this one podcast said that SMU wasn't good because they should have lost to Duke, but they didn't. And if we're seeing anything this year, the ability to go on the road and survive, you have to give people credit for that. I don't care how you did it. You won. Okay. So now they're a playoff contender because they won. And Duke's not a bad football team. Duke's a well-coached football team. They're very solid. I feel like they're, Malik Murphy's grown up before our eyes too. So I like SMU. And then, you guys just pointed out too, look, they lost some offensive linemen in the portal in the spring. Okay. They lost some guys. Their starting quarterback, who had been kind of their stalwart for the past 3 seasons, it just doesn't work out. He's not the same after the injury he had last year. So you insert a guy who really, he's electric, probably a higher ceiling, but he isn't necessarily the fine-tuned product you want. That's clicked. And like you just mentioned, Ralph, yeah, they're not elite defensively, but they're pretty dang good, and they lost their DC last year. So, it just goes to show you, you've got a really good staff out there in Dallas. And so I like SMU. I hope it's SMU Miami in the ACC title game. That would be a fun game to watch. It really would be. And I'll say this, it will be one of the more fun ACC title games that we've had in a decent amount of time too. In terms of watchability, that'd be a good one. So